Hello, listeners. I'm Hannah.
And I'm Anna, and you are listening to
Stacked, the McIntyre Library Podcast. That's the best we've ever done that.
It is.
Okay. So on today's episode, we are trying something a little bit different. We want to do something that is a little bit more in-depth and long form. And this was all Anna's idea, and she's going to tell you about it.
Well, it was my idea because I'm a huge Ted Lasso fan and a Brett Goldstein fan. And Brett Goldstein has a fantastic podcast called Films to be Buried With, where he interviews all sorts of different people from the entertainment industry, and they answer a set list of questions about their favorite films, and we decided to take it to books. So this is going to be Books to be Buried With, and our first guest is Steph Regenauer. Steph, thank you for being here as our very first guest for Books to be Buried With. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your role on campus, please.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So I am one of the librarians here in McIntyre Library, and I am in charge of our textbook affordability efforts on campus, so just working with instructors and librarians and staff around the university to make textbooks and other course materials more affordable for students.
Perfect. And you're also a very avid reader who shows up to our On My Nightstand book discussions, which occur monthly, and you always have really interesting books to talk about. So Hannah and I are very happy that you agreed to be our first guest for this.
We are. I'll just say Steph and I trade book recommendations back and forth, and it's good stuff. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Personally, this is going to be a good day for me. Okay, Steph. So what we did is we gave you a list of questions, and you picked 10 of them. Is there a question that you wanted to start with, or that you were most excited to answer?
Yeah. I mean, I think in general it was a little hard to answer a lot of these questions because I'm not really a hot take book person. So I was like, this might be really boring, but we'll see. I think the question that makes the most sense to start with is just what my earliest memory of reading or being read to is. I feel like that's a nice place to start.
It is.
Mm-hmm. And so the first thing that came to my mind, because I just grew up in a family that read a lot, is I just remember that there was always books around, and we had this giant collection of picture books that it had all the classics, everything from Berenstein Bears and Little Critter and Goodnight Moon and Harold and the Purple Crayon and just there was at least 100 of them. And it was on a bookshelf, and it was in my room that I shared with my sister all throughout childhood. And even when I was in middle school, it was just comforting to take some of those books down and it was I know what it's going to happen. And but yeah, that was kind of what popped in my head first when I thought about that question, was just those stories that were there. So
it's nice because you grew up in a house with books.
Yeah.
And that's really important for childhood literacy. And some people don't grow up in a house filled with books, so that's nice to hear.
I also just there are some books that are some children's books, particularly picture books, I think, that are just it's like a warm hug when you come back to them, right? And I don't know, some of the books you mentioned were like that for me, right?
Goodnight Moon.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My other one was Corduroy.
Oh, yeah.
That's always
all the Corduroy books.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Well,
that's great.
Anna,
should we move on to the next question?
Yeah.
All right. What is a book that means a lot to you because of the memories associated with it? So this is a nice segue question.
Yeah. I think the book that I think of the most with this question is Matilda. That was I just loved that book as a kid, and I just have this one. I mean, I read it so many times, but I have this one memory of just school was out for the summer, and I was sitting on the swing in the backyard just reading it for the millionth time. And it was really fun. And I don't know, it was one of those books where it's I knew exactly what was going to happen, but it was just fun to keep revisiting it. And I think, just as a kid, I felt a connection to Matilda of I'm misunderstood and and just loving school and all that. So that's just a book that brings back a lot of fond memories.
One of my favorite things about like all of Roald Dahl's books, like they sound British.
They do.
Right? Like, you know, like the movie that they made in the 90s like was very American, but like the books, if you actually read them, they are British books. And I don't know. That's always one of my favorite things about reading Matilda is that
it's a different
you
vibe.
get the Britishism. I can't say that. Britishisms. And the word choices are different with Roald. Yes.
Okay, so if you were to, like, thinking about yourself as a child, would you have wanted, like, Matilda's powers, or would you have wanted, like, other kinds of powers?
Ooh. I don't know. I was not very, like, I was a very practical child, so I don't think I would have really been like, oh, I want to, like, yeah, like, I would read all those sort of stories, like, you know, Harry Potter and everything magical and whatever, but I never, like, thought about, like, I was, you know, oh, what if I was a wizard? Or what if I had magical powers? It was just very, like, no, that's for them.
See,
So,
This is fiction.
that was all I was doing, right? Like, My thing about Matilda was, like, it was, like, if I'm remembering right, and it's been a while, but it's, like, she essentially, like, develops them, right? Like, it's not just, like, she wakes up one day and she can do, she's telekinetic, I guess that would be how you would talk about her powers, but, like, it's something that she, like, strengthens over time and builds up. I always thought that was really cool, and you don't see that all the time in, like, this kind of kid's book.
right.
She learns how to master it.
Yeah, there we go. And it's, like, it's a gradual, like, effortful thing. I mean, not that, like, they don't put effort in Harry Potter, but they aren't as, like, organized and disciplined as Matilda was.
Do you think Stephen King's Carrie was really influenced heavily by Matilda? Come to think of it.
I don't know.
Because Carrie also learns to master her power. It's just suddenly discovered.
I've actually never seen that movie.
Oh,
Or read the book. Yeah, it's...
I just made that connection. And I realized, oh, Carrie is the adult version of Matilda. And that's frightening.
Is it really?
Yeah, she's telekinetic.
Huh.
Yeah. And she discovers her powers accidentally after people are sort of picking on her, and she feels like an outcast in school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Interesting.
Should I revisit this?
Yeah, it's not necessary.
Okay, good. Because, like,
Maybe you should just reread Matilda. That's more fun.
Okay, there we go. We don't have to do horror. We can do Matilda.
Yeah,
that's wonderful.
Yes.
Okay.
Stay away from the horror version. There we go.
That's wonderful. Okay, maybe I'm going off topic here, but Anna, if you had a book, to choose a book because of the memories associated with it.
No, if I had a book because of the memories associated with it, it would obviously be Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I still have the original copy that was given to me, and I just remember having my grandmother read it and my mother read it, and I grew up watching the Megan Fellows version of Anne of Green Gables, and I read the entire series, and I love Lucy, Maud, Montgomery, and that whole world, and my dream trip would be to Prince Edward Island.
We've talked about this already. Yeah. Road trip. Right?
Road trip. And I did dress up as Anne for Halloween a couple years ago.
Really?
When we all dressed up as storybook characters.
Yeah.
I came as Anne of Green Gables.
Did you do red hair?
I did. I had a wig. Little long red braids.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay.
So much fun. But Anne, what about you, Hannah?
See, mine would be Little Women because I have very strong memories of my mom reading Little Women to me. And I would, we would like get ready for bed and we'd crawl into bed and sit in the bed together and she would read Little Women to me. And that's a very strong memory for me. So, yeah. Okay. I feel like I want to jump around, but I'm like...
I think you can jump around.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Jump around.
Well, since we've been talking about movies, because obviously Matilda has a great movie adaptation, do you have a favorite movie adaptation of a book?
Yeah. I feel like I'm cheating a little bit with this answer, but I'm going to say The Princess Bride. I feel like I'm cheating because I saw the movie like a million times as a kid before I ever read the book. And so, yeah, that's maybe not fair for this question, but I love that movie. I didn't read the book until high school. It was like in English class we read it.
Really?
It was assigned reading in English class?
Yeah, my high school had like in the I don't remember if it was like junior or senior year, but it was basically the same kind of curriculum for all the English classes, but you picked based on like what genre you wanted to read. And so there was like a sci-fi fantasy one, and then I ended up in like kind of the romance one. So we read Princess Bride as one of the books. And and so it was a fun to read. And like I remember my best friend in the class with me, she had never seen the movie before, and I was just flabbergasted. And like our teacher told us at the end of once we finished the book, we'd watch the movie in class, and my friend just developed a crush on Inigo Montoya reading the book. And I was like, I love Mandy Patinkin, but I just warn you, he's probably not going to be how you imagined him in the book. And so that was fun. But I just like loved how the movie like incorporates the book in it. It's not just like telling the story, but with the grandfather reading the book to his grandson while he's homesick, and just how it kind of goes in and out of that. It's just really great, and it's just such a comfort to watch. And I love Carrie Elwes. So
what did your classmate think of Mandy Patinkin?
I mean, I think she just imagined him a little more dashing, and I think the mustache and the kind of hairstyle threw her off a little bit.
He's terribly dashing as Inigo Montoya.
I mean the fencing, the sword fighting is very dashing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's the
I mean, I just don't know if he's really
And
does
his
it
voice.
for,
I mean,
an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we have Carrie Elwes for that, so
Exactly.
There we go. Yeah.
And relatedly, for this same year you were Anne of Green Gables, I was the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I've missed out on some good Halloweens.
We'll have more good Halloweens.
Okay. Okay, so Steph, what question do you want to do next?
Let's talk about my favorite genre.
Ooh, genres.
In kind of reflecting on this question, I realized how much I just kind of go in phases. Like I'll go real hard for a few years on like a genre, and then I don't know, get burnt out or something and move on. So I like in high school it was Stephen King and historical fiction were my like two go-tos. And I loved Ken Follett, if you've ever read any of his monster books.
Yeah.
Pillars of the Earth, that like series was my favorite.
It's a fantastic series. It's so many pages.
So many pages. The first book is like 1,000 pages. And then, I kind of stopped reading during college. And when I got back into it after graduating, I went really hard on memoirs for a long time. And I especially loved Carmen Maria Machado's In the Dream House and Know My Name by Chanel Miller. Those were just fantastic. And then a few years ago, I got back into fantasy and sci-fi, and so that's kind of where I've been living the last few years. And it's hard to pick a favorite there, but I think like just Becky Chambers, the author Becky Chambers. I love everything she's done. So she kind of writes cozy sci-fi, I guess, but I don't know. It's more than that. Like I think cozy doesn't do it justice, but so.
Well, I just want to say that like the fact that there is like a subgenre of sci-fi called like cozy sci-fi is the best thing. Just like I'm so glad that we live in this world where there is cozy sci-fi.
Right.
But I just re-listened to A Psalm for the Wild Built and then A Prayer for the Crown Shy. Is that the second one? I just re-listened to them, which is like, and it was just like, I mean, it was like being served a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Right? Like just warm and comforting. And I say that because the main character of these two novellas is a tea monk and lives kind of a nomadic existence going around serving people tea and listening to them. And that's like the main character of the two novellas. So.
And Steph introduced me to those.
Really?
Yeah. And then on my nightstand, you talked about one of them, and I went out and I read the first, and then I immediately had to read the second because I loved it so much. I love the character development and the world, and it's slightly post-apocalyptic, but it's not really dark. Yeah, which I tend to read too many dark books.
Yeah. Her other series I like a lot too. Sorry, I'm the one talking about Becky Chambers now, which is like
no, that's okay. She comes up in a few more of these questions. So
I will just say that like Steph and I trade sci-fi recommendations and fantasy recommendations. Like this is like so. I thought that this question was a good one because like I'm gonna like your answer. I also just love her other series, the Wayfarers series. Like, and the thing about that is like humans are not like the dominant species in the galaxy in that series, and I think that is just such a like profound shift from what you usually get in sci-fi, and just in so many interesting ways it makes the human characters like more vulnerable and more interesting, I think. I don't know. I could talk about this a lot. I also like Becky Chambers and have opinions about. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, and honestly, if we want to move to the next question about a book that made you cry, we can continue our Becky Chambers discussion.
Wait. Okay, but what do you think is appealing to you right now about like sci-fi fantasy?
I think it's just, well, a little bit of escapism, probably. But also it's just been, like, I think, I liked fantasy when I was a kid, and then I haven't really read a lot of it since. And it's just, I don't know. It's more than just kind of your, sort of stereotypical fantasy sci-fi, which I think is, not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think I kind of always imagined it as, like, spaceships and Star Wars and, like, I don't know. And now there's just, I mean, they've probably always been there, but now I've just found more, like, I don't know, the diversity within the genres and the different worlds. And, like, when you find a good fantasy book that has a really unique world building or concept of magic or something like that, that just, like, makes you think. And then they do, like, there's just, I think a lot of the times people don't like it because it's not real or whatever, but, like, kind of going back to Becky Chambers, it's like, yeah, this is made up, but, like, and this world isn't real or whatever, but, like, it still allows you to explore, like, real themes and think about moral conundrums and, like, it's just another vehicle for that. And so I think it's been fun to, just explore those.
Yeah, it's a great way to, like, explore something that is, like, complicated or hidden or I don't know, just something that's hard to talk about in everyday life and explore it in a totally different way, or just, like, dig into something that no one would think about.
Yeah, like there's a series that Hannah and I both just finished reading, a fantasy series called the Godkiller series, and I won't get, like, too deep into it, but there's one piece of it that just really stuck with me of, like, part of the magic in that world, I guess, is, like, that there's these little gods, and they're not just, like, the god of war and whatever and, like, these big concepts, but they're gods of, like, little day-to-day things.
Like broken sandals.
Yeah. And that they might, like, die or be killed, but then if enough people, like, believe in them, they come back or, like, need them. But one of the main characters in the book is the god of white lies. And it's, like, the author just does such a good job of exploring, like, the complexity of that and how, like, at times he uses his powers for kind of bad things to kind of push people in a bad direction, but then it's also, like, he uses it to comfort and, like, oh, someone's really sad right now and I just want to, like, make them feel better by telling these little white lies. And so it just does a really beautiful job, I think, of, like, exploring the complexities of that. So
it does. And it's like, it's looking at, like, agency to define, right, how you're, I don't know, however the gods came into being, right, like, whatever they're connected to, it's, like, the power to define what it means, because, like, at the end of the book, that the god of white lies, like, is, like a totally different being than it was in the beginning. It's so interesting. Like, it's looking at how you can define yourself even within, like, you know, if you're the god of something, can you change that? It's like, this is the way you can, which was cool. Anna's looking at me strangely. Okay.
No, I think you've sold me. Now I think I have to read this series.
They're good books. They're also, the world building is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will take that recommendation.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry I got us a little bit off track, but
but speaking of recommendations, wait, what is the book you recommend to other readers the most? Steph.
She said Becky Chambers.
Did she? Oh, it is? Is that the one we just answered?
All Becky Chambers things?
All Becky Chambers things?
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. Okay, so this was the favorite genre, an example.
Yeah.
Okay, we were saying, do you want to go to the book that made you cry, or because that was the one you were thinking?
Yeah.
We should go to that. Okay, so what book has made you cry?
Well, the last two have both been courtesy of Becky Chambers.
Okay.
Well, the Psalm for the Wild Built and the Prayer for the Crown Shy, that series, it didn't necessarily make me cry, but it did make me very emotional. Just there's especially this one little scene, I think it's in Prayer for the Crown Shy, when the monk is like returning home for the first time in a long time, and they just kind of describe how weird that feels of like, you know, you always think of home as something in the past once you've left, and like once you leave, you're forever changed. And then it's so surreal when you come back and it's still there, but it's not the same. It's like a little different because you just have this one sort of memory. And I was just like, oh my God, that's so accurate. And so that was literally like a moment where I stopped and I like took a picture of that page and sent that like little clip of it to one of my friends who had been trying to get to read the book. And I was like, please read it. This is just so amazing. And like, yeah, so it's just kind of moments like that. And then there's another scene in the Wayfarers series that you mentioned. It's in, I think, the third book, the Record of a Spaceborn Few, when it kind of focuses on the humans are the main race, I guess, explored in that book. And there's just this beautiful scene with, like, a funeral that I was reading at my lunch break one day, and I just started crying in my sandwich. I was like,
no.
This is just, I don't want to, like, get into it too much because of spoilers, but just really, like, it was a very touching scene. And, yeah, Becky Chambers, she just does it. She knows how to, like, pull the heartstrings and, like, just explore the complexities of the human experience.
Agreed.
I hope Becky Chambers listens to this podcast.
If that
Two
happens.
of our biggest fans are sitting right here.
I thought, after reading that book, I literally thought about writing her an email because I was just like, you have changed my life.
You should.
Oh. Actually, it's really funny. The second book in the Wayfarers series, A Closed and Common Orbit, that might be my answer for the question about what's the book you recommend the most. This is a deep series, right? Like, there's a lot there, and also it's incredibly enjoyable. So, like, yeah, either that or, I mean, we were talking about All Systems Red and Martha Wells before this, and that might be the other one. But I'm not answering that question right now. Steph, if you were going to answer that question, what is a book that you recommend the most?
Yeah. Well, in addition, I like to recommend Becky Chambers, but I also get scared because I love her so much that I'm worried people aren't going to love her as much as I do, and I don't know if I can handle that. So,
oh my God, I feel that. I feel that so much. And like when you have emotional attachment to books, it's like you want people to like them, and if they don't, it's like devastating.
Right. So it's like I'd rather just not share because what if you don't like it? But besides that, I think I kind of in sci-fi, besides like All Systems Red and Murderbot by the Murderbot series by Martha Wells, that's a really fun one that I've recommended a lot. I also really, really enjoy the Red Rising books by Pierce Brown. So there's 6 books right now. It's kind of 3 or two sorts of sets of trilogies. And I think there's another one coming out. So I've read the first 4, like the original trilogy, and then the next kind of book setting up the rest of the series. But it's very dark and dystopic, but it's really good world building, and it's really exciting. The first book very much has kind of Hunger Games vibes. But that's another series that I talked about it so much when I was reading it that Derek, my husband, he doesn't read, but he calls them the Steph's notes of like all the books that I'm reading, because it's like I'll be sitting there and I have to like
great.
tell someone about what I'm, and that's one that I'm like, man, I think he actually would really like this if he did read books. But I talked about that one so much that he just recommends it to people, like, and he's never read it. But if he meets he has a lot of coworkers that are readers, and he's always like, oh, have you read Red Rising? And he'll just like tell them all about it, because I was like, literally the whole time I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, guess what happened? So
See, this is so funny. So I've had Red Rising come up at least twice in McIntyre Matchbook requests that I've done. And for those of you who don't know, McIntyre Matchbook is a program where you can fill out a form about like your interests in book, like the kinds of books you want to read and stuff. And a real life librarian will look at it and give you recommendations, which is amazing. And I had never heard of these before they came up on these the submissions for McIntyre Matchbook that I was working on. I cannot believe I've never heard of this, or I had never heard of this. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. I definitely, as one of the answerers of McIntyre Matchbook requests, I definitely recommend it a lot in there too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I feel like this is like a gaping hole in my in my sci-fi cred. I don't know. Okay.
But one you can fill.
Well, see, that is the thing with books, right? It's like it's not that hard to. Okay. Anna, do you want to pick the next question?
Well, yeah. I'm going to do the opposite. What is a book that has made you laugh out loud?
Oh, so this question immediately made me think of the author Lindy West, who she writes like nonfiction. She has 3 books out, a 4th one coming out March 10th. Plug for that. But they're like, she writes like essays, and some of them are kind of like about her life, but they're also sort of cultural critiques. And if you've ever heard, her first book was called Shrill, and they made a TV show based on it that's on Hulu with Adie Bryant as the star. But so she writes like really thoughtful, like kind of critiques and observations, and also just things about her life. But she's also just really funny and just really weird, and like my sense of humor. And so one of the books that she wrote is like, because I think her original kind of start, she used to write for Jezebel, and she used to write like movie reviews when she first got started. And so she ended up publishing a book that was just reviews of movies, like classic movies, and just, it's so funny. And it was like, I've never even seen this movie, but this is hilarious. And so, I've never read a book of hers and not just laughed out loud. So I highly recommend her books.
So follow-up question, were there any movies that you watched based on her reviews?
No, I don't think so. But I should, because then I'm sure the reviews would be even more funny if I knew what she was talking about.
Well, maybe. That's nice knowing that standalone they're funny without even having seen the movie.
Yeah, because she does she has a newsletter through Substack where she does like movie reviews all the time, and she'll walk you through like a whole synopsis of it. And so even if you haven't seen it, you're like, okay, I get it. She wrote one about Hot Frosty when that came out a couple years ago. That was so funny. So,
oh my gosh, I bet
Frosty.
There was so much in that movie too. Okay, just show of hands, who watched that movie? Did you not watch it, Anna?
No, I did not watch that.
Oh my gosh, everyone!
I'm sorry.
Didn't you just want to know what everyone was talking
about?
though?
I did not want to know. I did not want to know. I did that once in my life, and I regret it because I wanted to know what everyone was talking about when 50 Shades of Grey came out. And
Okay, so do you remember what Lindy West's take on Hot Frosty was?
I mean, she just, I don't remember exactly, but it was just pointing out the ridiculousness of the premise and like constantly reminding everyone, like, he is a snowman. How does he know these things? Just the kind of moral dilemma of falling in love with a snowman who doesn't quite know what's going on.
And who is like 3 days old or something like
yeah,
that.
Exactly.
Right? Yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I might go look for that one because that was a crazy movie.
It was.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just, yeah. Okay. Well, on that theme, is there a book that has scared you that you remember, like, strongly?
Yeah. So I remember very vividly being terrified of the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark books. Don't know, are you familiar with those? It was basically, I think there ended up being maybe 2 or 3 of them, but I only had the first one, I think. And it was just this little book of, like, basically the author took, like, kind of scary stories from, like, folk tales or whatever and then retold them, and it was like a kid's book, I guess. Not like young kids, but I don't know. I remember being in probably like
tweens,
5th grade, 6th grade, having
more
them
geared toward tweens.
Yeah,
audience.
but they were just very short, like maybe 50-page books, but like there might be like 10 or 15 little stories in there, and then they were just really kind of terrifying illustrations to go along with it.
Oh no!
So like, I don't remember all of them, but like one of the stories was this kid who was out in the yard and he just finds a toe sticking out of the ground, and he just was like, "Oh, this would be good for dinner," and then. So he'd taken them
Your
off.
face.
Excuse me?
And
Wait.
well, and that's not even the scary part. Then they eat the toe, and then the kid is woke up in the middle of the night with this like scary voice going, "Where is my toe?" So that was.
I mean, this raises the question of, one, why is there a toe in the yard?
There
That
are
is not
mushrooms.
explained.
There are mushrooms that look like toes. that
Two.
grow. They're called dead man's toes or dead man's fingers.
Two.
So
Why is this kid's first instinct to eat it?
I don't know.
pica?
This feels like the beginnings of like a Hannibal-esque kind of character. Like, okay, okay.
Yeah.
This is why I don't read scary stuff.
You know, and it's I read it all as a kid, and I was like, I don't like this, but I had to keep,
Yeah, because you said you sort of cut your teeth on reading on Stephen King when you were pretty young, right?
Yeah,
So-
and I think like I was probably desensitized to it from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark because it was like
that was your
gonna-
gateway drug.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite like Stephen King that's scary?
My favorite when I was in high school was Misery. It's basically, the movie is also real creepy.
Oh God, okay.
The basic premise is that there's this like famous author, and he's like driving somewhere in the winter, like remote, and he like his car dies or he gets in a car accident or something. I can't remember. Oh, it is a car accident.
Car accident because
Yeah.
he breaks his legs.
Yes. And then this woman comes and finds him to like help him, and she brings him back to her house in the middle of nowhere, and she's like a super fan of him, like, and she won't like let him leave basically. And
She
so
takes care of him.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember who plays the author in the movie, but Kathy Bates plays the the woman, and boy, she is terrifying.
Wow. Okay. Okay, so Steph, is there a book you have reread again and again, and why?
Yeah. So I think one of the books that I've read the most, besides Matilda, obviously, is Slaughterhouse-Five. That was like when I was in high school in English class, we had to do like, you know, a book report kind of assignment, and we were given like a list of books to pick from. And originally I was going to read Catch-22, and then I waited too long to start the assignment, and that's a long book. And I realized, okay, I'm not going to get this done in time. So I was looking for a shorter book and came across Slaughterhouse-Five. And I ended up just, like, loving it. And it was, like, one of the first times that, because, you know, we weren't talking about the books as a class because we were working on them individually. So it was like, I have to figure out what all this means and interpret it. And, like, I don't have someone telling me or, like, guiding me, you know. And so, so I just really, really loved it. And so I read it many, many times after that because it was just every time, you know, I'd pick up something a little bit new. And, and also I never really made the connection that it's definitely kind of sci-fi. And so then I was like, oh, I guess I have been reading sci-fi for a long time. And I just never, because it's a classic, you know, so it just felt like it was in a different category. But and I, for that assignment in high school, I will never forget. We had to, like, kind of create something to go along with it. It wasn't just, like, standing up there and talking about your book. And so in the book, there's this, like, alien race called the Tralfamadorians. And basically, they are shaped like a plunger with a hand on the top and an eye in the palm of the hand. And they're green. And so I just made one. I bought a plunger, painted it green, got some foam, and cut out a weird little hand and put a googly eye on it and put it on top of the plunger. And my English teacher kept it, so, which was great because I didn't know what I was going to do with it afterwards. But that was my big craft. So, yeah, that book, it means a lot to me.
That's great.
I just am picturing the plunger and still sitting in your teacher's office or in their classroom.
I feel like
as an example of a great project a student made to accompany a book from the class.
I feel like that is the kind of thing that's just going to be there forever. Like maybe even after the teacher is gone, it just gets passed down.
Right.
It's excellent. Amazing. Oh, okay. Well, we have a last question.
Final question.
It's a good question for a librarian.
It is, and there is a wrong answer, so don't say it.
Okay, I will protect the space. There are maybe not many, but there are a number of right answers to this. So, okay.
All right, Steph Regenauer, how do you organize your books?
Well, this is a little embarrassing, but I really don't. I vaguely, like, will keep series together in order, but everything else is pretty haphazard. My books have overgrown the amount of space available to them, so it's a lot of, like, double layers on the shelves and a kind of pile that's growing next to the shelves, so it is not organized. Besides, like, there's kind of a separate pile that's, like, my more immediate to read, but there's probably like 25 books in that pile, so I don't even know what that means anymore.
For those who are listening, that is not the wrong answer.
No,
right
it's
answer.
not.
That's a very good answer. The piles of books are, I think, yep.
Yeah, it's the thing of, like, as soon as you said, yeah, like, my books have outgrown the storage available, I'm like, oh yeah, then, like, anything goes, right? Like, anything goes.
Trying to keep authors together, I think I make those efforts to try to keep maybe authors together, and sometimes there's sort of reason, and there are books that I think are friends that should be together, but yeah, I like it.
Wait, seriously? Okay.
Yes.
You don't?
Sorry. What?
What would you say that your organizational scheme is like generally?
I like to decorate with books.
Oh, shoot, okay. Oh my God, am I the most librarian,
So
like stereotypical librarian in this room at the moment?
I keep art books together, and then I have some genres that are kind of together, and then I have a large collection of old hymnals. Those are together on a shelf, but for the most part, like they make sense to me, and someone else walking into our house might look at how I've organized the books and say, what in the world?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm struggling with this a little bit. Okay.
I have there are too many, and there were two collections of books that merged almost 16 years ago, so that those two came together. And then you remember I worked at a bookstore for 5 years.
You did?
What do you think I spent my money on?
Well, yeah.
Books.
Okay, so I'm assuming this is Aaron's collection of books. How does Aaron organize books?
No, he does not.
Oh, shit.
Neither one of us. Our organizational style is, and it makes it even worse that I have a concentration in information organization for my master's, and I do not organize my books. I do not have them in, they're not even in any kind of tiny catalog or anything. They're just, I know where they are.
See, I have not cataloged. Like, that's too much work.
So
no.
I know a lot of librarians who have built catalogs, and they scan their barcodes, and they have everything carefully organized by genre. I even have a friend who labels hers. If you move one from the shelf and don't put it back in the right space, if you borrow one, she has little cards for people to check out. No.
Okay, that's extra, I guess, is the only way to say it. No.
And they can't, and that person cannot understand my collection.
See, I do understand. Like, I do by genres and then alphabetically by author last name.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
But I have the problem now of
too many books.
Yeah. I'm at that point where it's like it's going to start.
You just need another bookshelf.
Well, I can't have another bookshelf right now, Anna.
Why?
I don't have room in my apartment.
You make room.
No, there's no room.
Get rid of the couch. You mount bookshelves on the walls.
But it hasn't gotten that desperate yet.
We'll
but
build you a bookshelf.
No, but
okay.
I'm like I've organized them more granularly in the past, right? Like I still have a pretty significant collection of fiction and poetry by African authors, because that was something I was really interested in college, and I used to have that like separately pulled out as like a special collection, and now it's just all in the fiction or the poetry section. Okay. I have a poetry section because I have more poetry books than most people will ever do. Yeah. So
I have 2 poetry shelves.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We like poetry.
We have the librarians talking about organizing books, and you get the thing of not all librarians are the same. And actually, sometimes we don't care very much about how things are organized.
We're missing the most important question of this.
Okay, what's that?
This is books to be buried with. So Steph has died. You died. Do you know how you died? Do you have a story about how you died? Should we make one up for you? You don't have to. Were you killed by a green plunger that came down from... That's how we're going to say Steph died. But fortunately, killed by a green plunger from Slaughterhouse 5. Fortunately for Steph, she's going to a better place. And in that better place, she's allowed to bring just one book with her. And what book is that going to be? This is the book that you're going to use. You're going to pass through the pearly gates, and you're going to introduce all the people on the other side to this book, which is going to, hopefully say something about Earth as it is right now, and say something about you as a reader.
This is such a good question.
It is. Oh, my gosh. Oh... I mean, I think if I'm looking at the totality of my reading and the one that I come back to the most, and I guess it would be a little ironic getting killed by the plunger, I will. I have to go with Slaughterhouse 5.
That's a perfect answer.
I think
that's wonderful. Kurt Vonnegut.
Okay.
I like it.
So the plunger from
comes full circle.
Slaughterhouse 5. Okay, there we go.
Killed her, and she's still gonna take it with her into the afterlife.
Well,
that's great. You've been a great guest.
Yeah, I was gonna say this has been wonderful,
Thank you.
And thank you for bearing with us on this strange idea. We both kind of like walked up to Steph's office and stood there together, and we're like, Steph, we have this idea.
Will you be our first guest, please?
We want to talk about books with you.
We both really, I get a lot of recommendations from Steph for books, so.
Yeah, well, I get a lot from you guys too. Most of the last few books I've read have come from one of you, so.
Thank you.
Hooray. Okay. Thank you, Steph, so much. And I guess...
We'll catch you next time.
Yeah, this is the end of our first Books to be Buried with episode.
Yep. Thanks for listening.
Woohoo!
Bye. Thank you for listening to Stacked, the McIntyre Library podcast.
Our guest for this episode was Steph Regenauer. Thank you for joining us, Steph. Thank you for bearing with us as we started this project and this podcast.
You were an excellent guest.
Yes.
We would also like to thank Jill Markgraf, the entire digital studio team, and everyone at the library for their support.
This podcast was recorded in the large audio studio at McIntyre Library.
It was hosted and produced by Anna Zook and Hannah Carlton.
And edited by Hannah Carlton.
The music was by Matt and Lucy. Thank you, Matt and Lucy. We love the music.
We really do. And in honor of Brett Goldstein, be excellent to each other and go to the library. Bye.